Hi, good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everyone once again. We had a good session last week where we looked at a lot of things, shortcuts, some average. Uh, this week, we're going to be looking at some of the things that were mentioned in the link that was sent to you. So, conditional formatting, sorting, filters, VLOOKUP. Before that, just wanted to tell you about how the class is going to go today, the same way as of last week, but just sharing it for the benefit of those who are joining first time today. We are going to be having 4 topics. After each topic, there's going to be time for Q&A. You don't have to wait till the end of the session for Q&A because there is a lot of new things that you're going to learn today. There's a lot of new ground we'll cover. So I want you to ask your questions in the Q&A sessions that are going to be there after each topic that we cover. Also, you would be hearing me saying the name Kevin in the middle. Kevin is my friend who is the co-host of this meeting, and he's just helping me with everything that is regarding this meeting. So let us begin. The data that we're going to work with for today is here. Now, you can see that this is similar to the data that we had last week. We had employee name, we had salary, we had number of years in the company last week. So we are having the emirate of residence also in this week's data. So let's just go through the data. You can see employee name is there. We have a list which is going all the way from row 5 to row 36. We have the salaries that are given different ranges. As you can see, I think there is nothing above 10,000, but the minimum would be 1,000 here. You have a number of years in the company. That is how many years different employees have been there in the company. And then you have the emirate of residence. So before we start with today's topic, that is conditional formatting and all the other things, I just wanted to show you 2 things that I actually should have shown you last week, but then we are going to just look at it today. Let me just bring some columns from the left. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to look at is F2. Now you would have seen the F2 button on your keyboard. So you have F1, F2, many buttons are there on your keyboard, and F2 has a special function in Excel. What F2 does is it helps you to view the contents of a cell. Now, yes, when you look at this, you can see charger. If you press F2, there is not much difference there. If you press here, if you go here and you do F2, there's not much difference there too. But let's say you go to, let's say you go to a cell where David is written and you want to do something here. So you have David here, you have other names here. Let's say you want to change David's name and you want to put his full name. Now, let's say we all know David Williams. So let's say you want to put the name as David Williams. We are not going to overwrite the cell by writing David Williams. What we're going to be doing is we are going to press F2 and then the cell opens with the data. So you can just move your cursor around and move across the data. I would press F2, put space, and then I would type Williams. So then I get David Williams. Or F2 helps you to see the formula in a cell. Now you can see here there is 50. You can see here there is 6. You can see here 56, but 56 is not what is there in the cell. What you're looking at is 56. But the content of the cell, when you press F2, you can see it's a formula, K7 plus J7. It's a sum formula, which you can see when you press F2. Similarly, there is a sum here for 227. Now, when you look at 227, you don't know which is what is being added here. Is it figures from here? Is it figures from here? Is it this plus this or this plus this? You won't know that when you look at 227 only. But if you go to 227 here, yes, in the formula bar, let me just put the form. Okay, you can see the formula bar is J7 to J21 and K7 to K21. J7 to J21, K7 to K21. That's fine. But when you press F2, you can see that the cells are highlighted in the colors of the formula. So if you see in any formula, it's blue color. You can see somewhere in the sheet there will be a blue color data that's highlighted. So it's here blue, which means this entire area is blue color. It's red here, K7 to K21, which is why this entire area is red. And it's violet here, which is why this is violet. In same pattern, when you open this formula, you can see K7 plus J7. So K7 is in blue, which is this, and J7 is in red. Now the advantage of this is you don't have to find out where K7 is or where J7 is. Or similarly, when you look at this, you don't need to find out where is J7, where is J2. You can just match the colors. So if this is red, that is red. So F2 does this. Now, when I want to open this formula, I would just press F2. That's how I open the formula here. I can see it. But F2 also helps in revealing hidden text. For example, when you look at this text, you can see first text line. What you see here is written first text line. What you see in the formula bar is also first text line. But when you press F2, you can see that I have inserted two more lines here. I have inserted a second text line and a third text line, which you will not see if you're looking at the cell here or you're looking at the formula bar here. You need to press F2 to open this. Now, by default, F2 is all you need, but you will notice in some keyboards, for example, in the laptop that I'm using right now, there's a function F2. So there's a function key you need to use for accessing any of the buttons from F1 to F9. So then you would have to press function F2. Also, there is one more shortcut that I wanted to show you, which I was supposed to show last week, but then I missed it out last week. So the shortcut is Control D. So what Control D does is Control D copies any data from the top cell to the cell that your cursor is in. So if I do Control D here, there is nothing that's going to happen. But if I do Control D here, you can see the formula from the top gets copied down. It's not the 56 that gets copied down. Now let me undo that for you, and let me just type 56 here. I just type 56 there and I'm doing Control D. So you can see 56 is copied because the cell content is 56, the number 56, which is getting copied down. But here there's a formula 56. As you can see, K7 plus J7. This is the content of the cell. So whatever is the content of the cell, it gets copied down. So I would press down arrow, I would do Control D. Now, merging what we learned last week and Control D, let's say you want, let's say you want to copy this sum formula entire here. Of course, you can click this and you double click, yes, the sum, you can get it. But let's say you're working with something at this cell, you're writing total here, for example. You would have to go here and then do the clicking. It takes a little time. So my personal favorite way would be this. I would go here. Now you would remember last week we looked at Control, Shift and movement arrows. So when I do Control, Shift and up arrow, you can see the cell still 56. That is, as we quoted myself last week, as we said, till the next obstacle, Excel will highlight the cells. So when I do Control, Shift, up arrow, till the obstacle, the cells are being highlighted. And then I do Control D. Let me show you that once again. So I'm in this cell because I want a sum taken till here. I'm doing Control Shift up arrow. So the cells till the next obstacle are selected and I do Control D. So then you get that particular content of the cell along with the format copied till your cursor. Now that is the two things that we wanted to look at first. Let's start with conditional formatting. Before we go to conditional formatting, we have time for doubts. Anybody has any doubts in F2 or Control D, you can unmute your mic and let me know now. F2 is a very commonly used feature. So Later, you might see me using F2 and I wouldn't want anyone to get confused. So if you have any doubts in F2 or in Control D, you can unmute your mic and ask me now. Okay, perfect. So since there are no doubts, we will just be going on to the next function. So as you saw in your Zoom link, the function that we're going to look at first today is conditional formatting. So firstly, where is conditional formatting and what is it? As we said, there are many tabs in Excel. When you go to the Home tab, you will see conditional formatting here. So what conditional formatting does is this. You know what are formats. So let's say I want to highlight 5000 in yellow color. I would just need to do that. I'm doing Control Z for undoing. Let's say I want to highlight Sharjah, these Sharjah in green color. I would just select this and I would do that. And how would I clear this? How would I clear the formatting if I wanted to? I would go here, I would go to no fill. So that is normal formatting, which we saw last week. Now, what is conditional formatting? When you want to format something based on some conditions. Now, let's say you want to format the people who have worked for more than 5 years in the company. So, of course, one way to do that is this. Let's say you're going to put blue color. And as we saw the format paint the button last week, we're going to double click it. We're going to be taking the data which is more than 5 years. That is employees who have worked with the company for more than 5 years. So 14 is there, and then 7 is there, 10 is there, 6, 11, 15, 15, and so on and so on. Yes, this is one way to go, but there's a much, much faster way. And that is what conditional formatting is. I'll show it to you. Okay. So let us look at first what conditional formatting is, the different options that are there. There are highlight cell rules, there are top or bottom rules, there are data bars, color scales, icon sets. So we're going to start with highlight cell rules, greater than. What is the criteria that we had? The number of years has to be more than 5. So we're going to select that data first. We're going to be going all the way from there to here. We are doing conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, greater than 5. So you can see this dialog box. Greater than is the name of the dialog box. Format cells that are greater than 5. Now the format that is given here is light red fill with dark red text. So you can see the preview here. It's light red text with dark red text. If I press OK, you can see the 14, the 7, the 10, the 6, and so on till the end. Everything is formatted based on our condition. Now let's say I wanted to change the condition. I don't want 5 years. I want 10 years. So if I do 10 years, technically this 7, this 6, 9, and 6 shouldn't be there. So once again, I select my data. I go to conditional formatting. I go to greater than 10. And then I do OK. So you would see the 14 and 7 is selected. The reason being, when you apply conditional formatting, so what we did now is we try to apply one conditional formatting on top of another conditional formatting, which is why there is a mismatch, or you won't notice the error at first, but then when you look line by line, you will notice there's an error. What happens is, once you apply a certain conditional formatting, you have to remove that. Only then you can apply the formatting next time. So I would remove this conditional formatting here like that. When I go to clear rules, I get the option to clear rules from selected cells or entire sheet. Right now we're doing from the selected cells only. So I remove the formatting from there. Now, let's say I wanted to conditionally format only the employees who have been here for more than 10 years. So I would select that data. I would go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, greater than. I want for only 10 years, right? So 10. Format cells that are greater than 10 with this format, that is light red filled with dark red text. I click OK. Now I look at my data. So 14, 11, 15, 15, 14, 11. You can see that all these numbers are the greater than 10. So the condition format is working as per our condition. Now, why is 10 not highlighted? Because you can see that the option that we have selected here is format cells that are greater than 10. So if you wanted 10 also to be highlighted, then you would have to put 9 here. But we are not putting that, we are just putting 10. That is how conditional formatting works. Now we're going to look at some more options. So because we don't want any confusion, we're just going to clear the formatting from there. I go to clear rules. I go to clear rules from selected cells. Now, there are different options in this. So there is highlight cell rules greater than, less than, between. So between, an example would be, let's say I want the employees who have been with us for between 5 to 10 years. I would do between, I would type 5 and 10 here, and then I would get my cells highlighted with this criteria. We're going to look at another formatting now. So when I go to highlight cell rules, I can see less than, between, equal to, text that contains. So when I go to text that contains, you can see that format cells that contain the text. Let's say I want to highlight only the cells with Dubai. So I type Dubai and the format is light red filled with dark red text. Let me change the format. So green filled with dark green text, yellow filled with dark yellow text. I'm going to take green filled with dark green text and I'd OK. So what was our format? What was our condition? Text that contains the name Dubai. Only if the text is containing Dubai, the format has to be applied. So you can see Dubai and Dubai here and Dubai here and here. Based on our condition, these cells are highlighted. So I'm going to remove that formatting now when I go to clear root from selected cells. Now, sometimes when you're doing data entry or sometimes when you have data with unique codes, when you copy paste data, you might have a doubt. Have I copy pasted anything in an error? As in, is there duplicate? So for example, let us say that these are employee names and salary as we saw at the beginning of the data. I want to check if there are any two employees with the same names, because let's say the finance manager is just preparing the salary statements and he wants to make sure that the salary is going to the right person. So before that, he wants to do a check. Are there any duplicates here? So if I want to check whether there are any duplicates here, I would select my data here. I would go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules. We saw all these. A date occurring is just the same logic, a date occurring between a certain date and another date. When you go to duplicate values, so conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, duplicate values. So format cells that contain duplicate with this. I do OK. Now what happens here? You can see William is in format here, and the same William is there again. You can see Benjamin is there here, and you can see Benjamin is there here again. This data has been highlighted because it is duplicate. Let me show you that once again. So I'm going to delete this, delete the formatting. Okay. Conditional formatting, delete from the selected cells. Okay. Kevin, can you hear me?
Yeah, it just got stuck for just a little time. You
Okay.
can
Is
just
it
repeat
okay?
just like a few minutes back. And then
Fine. Okay. Fine. I will look at duplicate values again. So duplicate values, as in when you go to conditional formatting and highlight cell rules, when you go to duplicate values, what this does is this. So if I want to find whether there are any duplicate values between this and between the first name Peter and the last name Amelia, I would select this entire data. I would go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and duplicate values. So you can see the header for duplicate values and format cells that contain duplicates with this format. So I would press OK. And then when you go around, you can see William is highlighted because there's a duplicate here. And Benjamin is highlighted because there's a duplicate here. That is what the duplicate values does. It is very useful when you are working with product codes or employee numbers to make sure that there are no duplicates. So let's just clear that from the selected cells. Okay. Now, those are the functions which are there in this highlight cell rules subsection. Now let's look at top and bottom rules. Before we look at top and bottom, if anyone has any doubt, please feel free to ask, because later we're going to be merging this and this. Okay, assuming that no one has any doubts, let's move on to top and bottom.
Salis,
Yeah.
hi Salis.
Angle. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, yeah. Salis, you had said duplicating your formatting. William and Benjamin were duplicates.
Yeah.
And it was colored as light red.
Yes.
So is there an option to color them differently? William in green and Benjamin in red?
Now, one way what we can do that, if we know that our duplicate values are limited, we can select this, and let's say once you go to conditional formatting and you select this, when you go duplicate, you know only William and Benjamin is there. One way what you can work around that to answer your question is this: highlight cell rules. We can go to text that contains, we can go to William and put a light red fill. I would go then to Benjamin, so text that contains Benjamin, and then we can put that with green color. Sorry, green color. Yeah, text that contains Benjamin. Just 1 second. Okay. Benjamin with light green color. Okay. So now you can see William and Benjamin is in different colors, but this works only when you know that there are two data.
There are two data. Okay.
Otherwise, I do not know any other way. But later when you look at pivot tables, you can understand that with pivot tables, it's very easy to find out these duplicates. So with pivot tables, actually, you can find out how many times William is occurring, how many times Benjamin is occurring.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Silas?
No problem. Yeah, Riaz, tell me.
Yeah, see, you made this duplicate, right? And then when you see at Williams,
William, yeah.
yeah, Williams Emirate is in one it's Dubai and other is Sharjah. So how do you say that it's duplicate? But okay, the names are twice, but as far as the Emirate is concerned, it's different, no? So
Yeah,
how do you?
so see, if you look at the salary also, you look at the salary, William is 5,000 here, William is 8,900. Now, the
Okay,
purpose that I was showing the duplicate is that you can use duplicate anywhere. If you look at,
okay.
yeah, so obviously these both are not duplicate Williams, but let's say you're giving this data to someone else and they want to just immediately scan, whether there are any duplicate names. So then you can just make this, you can just use this to just check quickly whether there are any duplicates here.
So basically, you just did it in the C column itself, zero.
Yeah,
You
in the
didn't
C.
format it for the whole thing. You just okay, I got it.
Yeah, within the, so you can see what we did was we just selected this. We select only this
Okay.
and we go to conditional formatting and do duplicates.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone has any other doubts? Okay. Assuming that no other doubts are there, let us move to the next one, which is top and bottom rules. So you can see in top and bottom rules, there are some options. Top 10 items, top 10 percentage, bottom 10 items, bottom 10 percentage, above average, below average. It is pretty straightforward. If you ignore the Excel part of it and just look at it very logically, this is exactly what it does. Let's look at top 10 items first. So let us say that we want to find out what are the top 10 salaries that we pay to our employees. So we would select that data here, which is Control Shift down arrow. That's how I selected the data. I would go to conditional formatting, top and bottom rules, and top 10 items. So top 10 items are going to be filled with light red, filled with dark red text. Okay. So now you can see that there are different numbers that are highlighted. So 9,800, 8,300, all the way it goes down till 7,700. But you don't know which is the highest one here. Now, let us say you want to find out what is the highest salary that we pay to any of our employees. Then what we would do is this. I'm just doing Control Z for undoing. So our condition is what now? The conditional formatting that the condition that we're going to use for formatting is we want to find out what is the highest salary that we pay to any employee. So we would go to conditional formatting, we would go to top bottom rules and top 10 items. When you click, you can see there is 10 here. So by default, it is showing you the 10 items. But you can change that and just put 1. So you want the top 1 item formatted, let us say light red fill is fine, but we have been using it for a while, so it looks a little boring. Let us go to yellow fill with dark yellow text. George, 9,800. Let's just scan through the data quickly. Do you see any value which is greater than 9,800 anywhere? You can see 8,900, you can see 9,400, you can see no other value. This is what this function does. That is top 10 items. So what we did, once again, let me show you. Okay. Once again, what we're going to look at is this top 10 items. You are looking at format cells that rank in the top 1 with yellow. That's how this value gets highlighted. Now let us say we want the highest and the second highest. So we want the figure, what is the highest figure that we pay as a salary to an employee, plus what is the second figure. Okay, we do 2. If you type 2 here, you can see George and Mason. So George is getting 9,800 and Mason is getting 9,400. That is how the top 10 items work. Now, let us look at, okay, the top 10%, the same logic. I'm not going to spend time on that, but we're going to look at bottom 10 items. What is the lowest salary that we pay to any of our employees? Or let me just look at another data for a while. Number of years in the company. So you have 14, 4, 1, you have different data here. If you're given a question, what is the least amount of time with which any employee has worked in our company? You would select that. You would go to conditional formatting. You would go to top and bottom rules. You would take bottom 10 items. Now you don't want all the 10 items. You want only the least one. So we would remove that and we would put 1. And then when you press OK, you can see Jeremiah has worked with us for 1 year. Mason has worked with us for 1 year. And that's it. So the lowest time that any employee has worked with us so far is 1 year. And these are the 2 employees. Now I'll just remove that. Okay. Then we're going to look at data bus. So we looked at highlight cell rules, we looked at top and bottom rules. Now there's data bus. So data bars, what it does is there are certain bars that are displayed in different sizes depending on the relation to other data. So let's say you want to just see quickly, you want to quickly scan your eyes and see who has worked for a really long time in your company. You would select that, and then when you go down to conditional formatting, you go to data bars. Let's say you're selecting this particular format, or okay, that's too dark. Let's say this particular format. So as the size of the bar increases, the value also increases. So you can see 15 is showing a full bar, which means 15 would be the highest value there. Yeah, when you look down, you can see 15 is the highest value. The next is 14. So when you look at this bar quickly, you can see 1, as we saw before, Jeremiah 1 and Mason 1. These were the employees who have worked with us for a lesser number of years compared to the others. So how data bars work is it works in relation to the other data. This is what data bars does. Let us undo that. We are going to be merging 3 things now. In case anyone has any doubts in conditional formatting, please clear it now. Okay, assuming that no one has any doubts, let me just show you 3 of the conditional formats together. we are going to be putting first the number of years as data bus, which is here. So the number of years. Before that, I just want to show you one more thing. Sorry. Now let's say we want to see what is the highest salary paid to our employees. We saw it is George. So we saw it here, that is top and bottom rules. We would select top one item. Top one item is light red fill with dark red text. That is of course the default option. Let's say you want a custom format. So you're doing a custom format. You want to put yellow color filling with green color text. So let's say filling. So you would put yellow color text. So yellow color cell with, I forgot what I said. We're going to put yellow color filling with green color text. So yellow color filling is going to be there and font is going to be green color. So it would look like that. Which means that you can put any format you want for conditional formatting too. Now, as I said before, for clearing conditional formatting, you would need to go here. You cannot go to this option, which we saw last week. No fill. If you do that, nothing happens here because it's a conditional format. So you would have to go there and erase your formats. Now, let us merge three of the conditional formats. So we're going to put the number of years as data bars. That is data bars here. And we're going to be putting the salary as top 5. So we want to see what are the top 5 salaries that we pay to our employees. So top and bottom rules, top 10 items, I will be changing the 10 to 5. I'll put that. And then I want to highlight all those who are in Dubai also. So I would select that and then would go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, text that contains Dubai. And we're going to put that format in green color. So now you can see there are 3 different formats for 3 different columns. The salary, there's a format, the number of years, there's a format, and the emirate, there's a format. Now, let us say you're given this sheet. Your manager or your colleague or somewhere you got this sheet. You have no idea how the formatting is done here. You can look at it and say it is conditional formatting, but you do not know what is the formatting that is applied here. Is it for top 5 here or is it top 6? You have no idea what the formats are. So let us say you want to see all the conditional formats that are there in the sheet right now. There's an option for that. When you go to conditional formatting, you go to manage rules. Let me show you that again. You would go to conditional formatting and you would go to manage rules. So you can see right now it's showing you only top 5, the current selection, because my current selection is here next to Paul. The format for this column is, as we saw, the top 5, but I want to show the formatting for my entire sheet. So when I select this worksheet, you can see this are all the conditional formats that are there in this sheet currently. So let us look from the bottom to the top. Data bar from E5 to E36, that is this column. So from E5 to E36, there's a data bar, blue color. Okay, that is one. Then when I look the second one, that is D5 to D36. So from D5 all the way down to D36, it's red color format. Okay, that for the top 5. And then you can see cell value contains Dubai. So from F to F36, F5 to F36, if the cell value contains Dubai, the format is going to be green color. That is what manage rules does. When you see this manage rules, if you click that and if you do this worksheet, you can see all the formats that are there in a sheet. And now let's say you want to clear the formats only for a particular column. So let's say you want to clear the formats only for number of years. You would select that column. You would go to conditional formatting. When you go to clear rules, you can see clear rules from selected cells and clear rules from entire sheet. Let me show you the difference now. So if I do clear rules from selected cells, you can see the format has gone from this column, but it has not gone from these both. I'm doing Control Z. Now I'm bringing back the format here. But if I go to conditional formatting, I go to clear rules and I do clear rules from entire sheet. All the formats in the sheet are disappearing. Okay, so we have covered everything that I wanted to cover in conditional formatting. There are a lot more things that you can do where you can make custom formulas and apply them in formats, but we're not going to be looking at that now. That's a little more advanced. We're going to look at sorting data next. Before that, if anyone has any doubts in conditional formatting, please unmute your mic and let me know. Okay, assuming we're all good, let us look at sorting data. So, sorting data, first of all, what is it? When you look at this data, you can't see any sort of sorting that is done. The names are not sorted alphabetically. The salary is not sorted from the lowest to the greatest, nor the greatest to the lowest. The number of years are not sorted. The residence is not sorted. So let's say we want to do some sorting. You would go to the data tab and you can see sort. So let us open this sorting function. You can see different options here. It's better that we start sorting and then I explain one by one. So yes, you saw that when you click sorting, the table is highlighted by default. What happens is sometimes in your data, you won't have a column header, or you'll be having only data in some cells in the middle, but you won't be having a data header. Then you'll be having some more columns. So then you have to make sure that in order for the whole table to be selected, you need to select the entire table. For those of you who are not there last week, I just press Control A now. When you press Control A, the entire table gets selected. Now let's click Sort. In Data tab, Sort. So first things first, let us begin from these both we look at later. This one, my data has headers. So what does this function do? When I click sort by, you can see my headers that are here are being shown here. So employee name, salary, number of years, emirate of residence, all are taken from here. If I off this option, the my data has headers option, if it is turned off, you can see it's shown as column C, D, E, and F. Now this is quite dangerous. What happens is if I sort in this way, even my headers are going to be sorted. Now we don't want that. We want to sort only the data, but we don't want to sort the headers. So we would select that and then we would go to this. We're going to sort by employee name first. Right now you can see there's no particular order. Peter, William, Jeremiah, Joe, there's no order. You go to employee name, okay, sort on cell values, order A to Z, and you do okay. Now you can see it's sorted by name, by alphabets. So Amelia, Ava, Benjamin, Charlotte, you can see that it's sorted by name all the way down till William. I'm doing Control Z. Let us sort by salary. So if you want to sort from the lowest to the highest salary, so you would go to sort, your my data has headers is highlighted. You would go to salary and then smallest to largest. Okay. So the employee, so right now you have your data from the lowest to the highest salary. The employee who's earning the lowest salary would be Peter and Liam, and next highest would be Amelia, next highest would be Charlotte. And then when you go to the end, you can see the highest, as we saw before in conditional formatting, when we used for the top one, the highest is George. That is how you sort by employee salary. Next, let us sort by number of years. So you want to sort by the number of years in the company. Number of years, smallest to largest. Okay, let us do largest to smallest. When I click that, you can see smallest to largest. There's largest to smallest and custom. I'm going largest to smallest and I'm clicking OK. So you can see many of the employees have worked for 15 years and 14 years and well, years about 10. So Benjamin, Julia, Peter, Mikhail, Kevin, Ava, these are all employees that have worked with us for more than 10 years. Well, this is the highest two employees, Benjamin and Julia. So who are the employees who work with us for the least years? When you scroll down, you can see Jeremiah and Mason. That is how you sort by number of years. Now we are going to be looking at combined sorting. Right now what you saw is I sorted by employee name, then I sorted by employee salary, I sorted by years. You can sort by emirate of residence also. So you have Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, Ajman, I think this is there. Yeah, Ajman is there. You can sort by residence also. Let us say you want to do two sortings, that is sorting on two levels. You want to sort by emirate of residence, and then you want the employee name sorted A to Z inside that. So let us say you want Ajman or Sharjah. Let's say in Sharjah you have 10 employees. You want Sharjah as one group, but you want within Sharjah it should be A to Z. So let us say you want that. What you would have to do is this. Let me just explain that once again slowly. As we saw, for employee name, salary, years, we saw that we can sort it column by column, that is individually. Let us say you want to sort one data, and then based on that data sorting, you want to sort another data. So what we're going to do now is this. We're going to sort the Emirates first, as in Ajman, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah. We're going to sort all those Emirates. Then within that section of Emirate, we're going to be sorting the names by alphabets. So I would do Control A. When I go to sort, I want to sort first by Emirate of residence. Okay. The Emirate of residence is going to be sorted from A to Z. That's good. I can do add level, which means I want to add one more level of sorting. But this sorting is going to be done after this function is done. So first Excel has to sort by emirate of residence. Then I want to sort by employee name. When you do that, this is what happens. So let us look at only Abu Dhabi right now. You can see within Abu Dhabi, what has happened is the sorting has happened by employee name also from A to Z. You can see E till S. Let us check in Sharjah. So when you look at Sharjah also, you can see this has been sorted first, Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Dubai, Sharjah by alphabet, and then the names have been sorted within the emirate. So all the way from A, B, D, E, all the way till N, P, S, W. That is how you do sorting on multiple levels. If you want to delete the employee name, you would just have to delete that from there. So if you work with the data, you resort it again, only the emirate is going to be sorted. The names are not going to be sorted. That, yeah, we would have to do one more thing in sorting. So let us say there are some employee. So let us say this. You remember we saw conditional formatting. So let us say we have a situation where we want to see our top 5 employees, as in the employees to whom we are paying the salaries, the top 5 employees to whom we are paying the salaries. So what we would do is this. As you saw conditional formatting, we would go here, and conditional formatting is in home. We go to conditional formatting, we go to the top and bottom rows. We want 5 of them. So we would go to 5 and we would press OK. Now I want to sort this data. Now we didn't see any option of sorting with colors, right? But there is an option for sorting with colors. When you go to data, when you go to sort, we delete the current sortings and we are adding our level. We want to sort by salary column. Fine. We sort by salary column. But you're not going to sort it based on cell values. You're going to sort it based on cell color. Now, what is the order that you want? Do you want no cell color first and then red color, or do you want red first and then the no cell color? So when you do that, you can see you want this first. Okay. So red on top. Once again, we want to sort by salaries, but we want to sort based on this format. And we got this format through the conditional formatting. So you would select salary, you would select cell color, you would select the color of the cell, and then you would see on top. So when you do that, you can see that the employee names are sorted by salaries. The top 5 are given to you by conditional formatting, and you sorted them using the sorting function here, but you sorted them based on cell colors. That is all that we have to cover in sorting. In case anyone has, we're going to move to filters next. In case anyone has any doubts, please feel free to ask. Okay. Assuming that no one has any other doubts, let us move on to filters. Filters would be in your data tab. When you click data, you can see there's a filter tab here right next to the sort. So when you click filters, you can see there are drop-down options that are given to you. You off filters by that. When you click that again, it switches on filters. Now, what do filters do first of all? Filters help you to manipulate your data to see what you want to see. As in, let us say you want to see only Sharjah employees. You can do that with filters. You want to see only the employees who are getting more than 5,000. You can do that. You want to see the employees in Dubai who are getting less than 5,000. You can do that too in filters. So first of all, for opening filters, as in for taking the filters function, you can go to data, you can go to filter. Yes, the data is selected, the filter is on. Or you can use the alt function, which I showed you last week. That would be alt, and then A would be the button that is here. So I would press A, and then SS is for sorting. So when I do SS, sorry, SS is not a function. T, yeah, T is a function for filter. So when I do alt A T, the filter is on. But my personal favorite is not any of these. My personal favorite would be Control Shift and L. So when I do Control Shift and L, the filter gets on. And as you know, I love working with a lot of speed in Excel, and Control Shift L has proven to be really fast for me. So let's on the filter again. I use Control Shift L, and let us just do some sorting now. So let us say I want to sort the Emirates here. So when you open this drop down, you can see sort A to Z, sort Z to A. All these are much better done in the sorting function. You can see text filters, which we look at later, but this is the main function. So right now in the Emirate of residence, you can see everything is highlighted. That is, select all is on. Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Dubai, Sharjah, everything is on. Let us say you want to see employees in Ajman and Abu Dhabi only. So you can just untick Dubai and you can untick Sharjah, which means only employees of Abu Dhabi and Ajman should be shown to you. So when you click OK, you can see that only Abu Dhabi and Ajman is shown to you right now. Now, let us bring back the entire data. You click select all and it's okay. Now let's say you want to find out if there is an employee named Peter and you want their data. Sure, you can do Control F and you can find, or you can just do this. You go to text filters. So this is just for showing you the function that I'm using this. It is not the fastest way to find out Peter. The fastest way to find out Peter would be to use the Control F function. But when you go to text filters and you go to contains, if you type, so you can see show rows where employee name contains. If you type Peter, you can see that Peter is shown. His details are shown. Let's select all once again. Let us say that you want to find out the salaries of the employees who are earning more than 5,000. So when you go to number filters, you can see there is equals, does not equal, and different options here. You can go to greater than and you can do 5,000 because we want the salaries more than 5,000 only. So show rows where salary is greater than 5,000. When I press OK, you can see these are our employees who are getting more than 5,000. Let's off the filter now. Now let us merge two filters. We want the list of employees who are earning less than 5,000 and who are staying in Dubai. So I switch on filters. Once again, we want the employees who are earning less than 5,000 and who are staying in Dubai. So you would have to go to salaries, you would go to number filters, you would go to less than. Less than 5,000 is what we said. So less than 5,000, we press OK. Now we have all your Emirates here. You want only the list of employees who are staying in Dubai. So we would go there and we would untick all that and we would do Dubai. So we have applied a double filter here. You can apply triple filters or much more. You have the employees who are earning less than 5,000 and who are in Dubai. We are switching off filters for now. Before we move on to the next topic, which is VLOOKUP, does anyone have any doubts? Okay, assuming that no one has any doubts, once again, the shortcut for the filter function in Excel is Control Shift L. And when you do Control Shift L again, it switches out the filters. Now let's look at a very, very commonly used function, that is VLOOKUP. So as we saw last week, to open any formula in Excel, you need to use the is equal to function. So when you do is equal to and you type VLOOKUP, let me just do this here. Okay, is equal to VLOOKUP looks for a value in the leftmost column of a table and then returns a value in the same row from a column you specify. That is exactly what VLOOKUP does. Let us start looking it up. So let us say you have this situation where you want to find out the salary of Isabella, you want to find out the emirate of residence, and you want the salary of Stuart and his emirate of residence also. You would open the VLOOKUP function here. Now, of course, you can find out where Isabella is. When you go down the list, you can find out where Isabella is, and then you can also find out where Stuart is. Now, when you do that, what happens is, yes, in a data where your rows are only from row 35 till row 36, it's fine because you have only 20 rows. But let's imagine that your data is 1,000 or 2,000 rows big, and you have a lot of functions to find out here. So for example, okay, I can give you an example right now. Let us say you have a stock list in your company, you have a stock list, and you have your master stock list, which has 10,000 rows. And your auditors have done a stock count of only 10 items. They want the value of the stock as of yesterday night. We are not going to be opening the main stock list of yesterday night and going to find out one by one. No. What we're doing is we would take a common data which is same, a common factor, a key factor like the stock code, for example, or the item code. We would have the item code with us. We would just use VLOOKUP for 2-3 values that we want, and it will look in that function will automatically look in the master data, and it will give you the result. Let me show you a very, very small example with this data here. Let us say you want to find a salary of Isabella. You would do is equal to VLOOKUP. Now, as we saw last week also, you can see that every formula in Excel, when you open, it gives you different values here, which you have to fill in one by one. So first of all, what is the lookup value? Which means what is our value that we want some other value for? What is our index? The lookup value is Isabella here. And you do comma. So the next is table array, which means you would have to select your table where the data is. Not just this or not, you don't have to find out where Isabella is. Now, right now I can see Isabella is here. I don't need to find out that, no, because then it's manual work. I would just have to select there and go cover my entire data. Like I said last week, the shortcut I use here is Control Shift and the arrow keys. So now my entire table is selected and shown here from C3 to F36. Okay, so my table array is there. I put a comma. Column index number. So in what column is my data in? Salary. But you should not count from here. Don't count from A, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. No, from your table, as in from C5 to F36, which is from here, you would have to find which column your salary is in. So column number 1, column number 2. My data is in column number 2. So I would have to type 2 for column index number here and add a comma. So then you can see true or false. Now true is just an approximate match, which is always risky. I would recommend never to use that. When you go to false, You can just press tab to select that. I would close my bracket there and I would press enter. It's showing me that Isabella's salary is 3,900. Let's just confirm that with my control F. Control F, Isabella. Okay, Isabella is here and the salary is shown as 3,900, which is correct. Fine. So now let us look at Stuart also in the same way. I would not have to go for typing the VLOOKUP formula again. As I saw at the beginning of the class, Control D helps you to copy the contents of the cell at the top. So if I do Control D there, the formula from the top gets copied down and it's showing me 5,100. Let's check if that's correct. Stuart. Here is Stuart and that's 5,100. That is how VLOOKUP works. Now let us check the emirate of residence. So if I copy this formula and if I copy it here, you can see what is shown here is 3,900 still. Let us open the formula and check why. Now VLOOKUP value, that is the value which you want to look up some other value for, that is same. Okay, that is fine. C5 to F36. Has my table changed for this emirate of residence? No. The column number 2, when you go from the left, employee name, salary, number of years, emirate of residence. The emirate of residence that I want is the 4th column. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It is not the second column where the salary is mentioned. So I would have to go to 2. I would have to just delete that and put 4 there. And when I press enter, my formula is correct. Let's just check if Isabella's is correct. So Isabella's emirate of residence is shown as Sharjah, which is the correct value here. When I do Control D and I get my data here, Stuart's is shown as Abu Dhabi. Stuart is here and Abu Dhabi is here. This is the functioning of VLOOKUP. Oh, just one more thing. When you do VLOOKUP, please make sure that the spelling is correct here. Now what happens is Stuart is here. What if I by mistake put an E here as in a wrong spelling? You can see error comes. When error comes, as you all know, computers never make mistakes. It is always an error in your input. So you do Control Z, and when your spelling is correct, the function is working properly. Let us also say that you have put false for some, you have put true here instead of false. Sometimes you'll find that the data is not coming correctly. There is one more thing that I will show you right now, which would be essential for you. Now, let us say Isabella is here and I'm putting George here. Okay. So you can see there is an error here, but why would the error be there? George is a here and George is a here. So technically, when I copied my data from here, my column from here, the formula, I'm just doing Control D again, Control D, Control D, it's coming as an error. But George is there. You can see when I look here, C5 to F36, you can see that this table is highlighted and I copied the exact same formula down. But you can see that this value is coming as an error. Now let us look at what happened. We look up I7. Is I7 correct? Yes. My table has moved to C36 to F37. It is not C6 to F37. That is not the initial table that we had. What we had was C5 to F36. Now why that happens is because Excel has this thing where the formulas change according to the cell that you are in. Let me show you a small example here. So let's say I have 5 here, I have 8 here, I have value 1 and value 2 and the sum here. And I'm taking the sum of these. So I press Alt is equal to and I press enter, I get the sum. That's perfect because 5 plus 8 is 13. That's fine. Now let's say I have another value here. I have 3 and I have 7. I'm copying my formula from here and pasting it here. It's showing me 10, which is 7 plus 3. It is not taking the sum of these two values. What it does is when you copy this formula one cell down, the entire values in the formula, they shift one level down, which means if I copy this formula to here, it would be 0. because it is not taking these values. It has shifted, the formula has shifted. That is, the values taken in the formula have shifted so many cells down. So if I put some value here, 8 and 4, it would be working perfectly, 12. The same logic, okay, sorry. The same logic applies in VLOOKUP 2. Now, when I copied this formula, I'm doing Control C and I'm going to Control V. The exact same formula is copied, but you can see this George. I hadn't selected I7 here. I selected I6, but when this formula moved one step down, you can see it has become I7. Similarly, you can see it was C5 to F36. Let's just check the previous formula. It is C5 to F36. That has become C6 to F37. The whole thing has shifted one cell down here and one row down here. Now here, just because it is one cell down, we know George is here, it's fine. But like I said, imagine your data has thousands of rows, and this is an error that commonly happens. So what you do is this. There is a way to put the formulas as in a way that it won't change. And it's a sort of referencing in which if you do that, what happens is wherever you copy the formula to, the values won't change, as in the table won't change. So let's look at what are the things that we don't want to change here. E6, that has to change depending on the cell we place the value to, or where we paste the formula to. We don't want C5 and F36 to change. So what you would do is this. You have to insert $1 icon between the values here. Now, if you look at it in detail, what is happening is this. When you do $C, what happens is the C column, it doesn't get changed, which means if I move my formula 2 steps to the right or 2 steps to the left, it will still look at the C column. I'm looking at 5, which is the same row. I don't want my row also to get changed. So when you put $C, $5 and $F, $36, what happens is wherever I copy this formula to, this table is not changing. This will change. I6 will change because I haven't put a dollar here, but this won't change. And once again, as I love shortcuts, let me just tell the shortcut for this. It's function F4. F4, yeah. If your keyboard is not having the facility to use the function keys without pressing the function key, then you would have to just press function, as in my laptop right now. So function F4. You can see that it varies. So right now there is no dollar icons. Right now there are dollar icons for both the values. Right now there's a dollar icon for only the row, and right now there's a dollar icon for the column only. So when you do function F4, what happens is the dollar icons appear for your data. So once I insert my dollar icons here, when I copy it down, technically George's salary also should be shown. It's shown on 9,800. So you can see the I7 has changed from I6 to change to I7, but my values here haven't changed. Now when we look at Sharjah, so Control C, Control V, it's an error. The reason being we haven't put the dollar signs yet, which means the data that you're VLOOKUPing is not within the table range, which was within the table range here. So you want the same table range to be copied down. So I'm just pressing F4 and I'm doing enter and I'm copying the same formula down. That is pretty much what VLOOKUP is. Now there are other ways, there are much more advanced stuff in VLOOKUP where you can VLOOKUP with multiple criteria, and you can do a lot more stuff with VLOOKUP. You can nest VLOOKUP with if formulas, max formulas, a lot of stuff. But this is the basic of VLOOKUP. And I think we are done for today. Does anyone have any doubts? Okay. I'm assuming no one has any doubts. If anyone has, I would recommend strongly that you clear it, because when you move to the later sessions, you will see that we're using VLOOKUP with nested formulas. As in, there'll be 3, 4 VLOOKUPs at the same time coming in the same formula. So I wouldn't want anyone to have any doubts at that point of time. So we have time. In case anyone has any doubts, you can clear it. Also, Kevin, can you please share the Google Forms link in the chat? There's a small feedback form that I have after my sessions. It's just to understand how I did and whether it was clear, how you feel about the class, any other feedback that you have. So any feedback that you have, please mention in the Google Forms link, which will be shared to you by Kevin in the chats. If anybody has any doubts in the function key as a F2 or Control D, conditional formatting, sorting data, filters, VLOOKUP, any doubts we can clear it right now. If not, I think we are done for today.